What is going on, everybody out there? Fascinating graveyard here today at the Hillside Memorial Cemetery here in Culver City, California. We're going to visit the final resting place of a Hollywood legend, Jack Benny. Benjamin Kubelski was born on February 14th, 1894 in Chicago, Illinois, to Jewish immigrant parents. His father, Meyer, who owned a saloon, was from Poland, and his mother, Naomi, she was from Lithuania. And I guess you could say that when Benjamin was a little kid, he was considered a prodigy at playing the violin. Now, when Benjamin was about 6 years old, his parents had got him a violin, and they thought that it would be in his best interest to learn this instrument. And by the time he was 8 years old, he was already taking lessons at the Chicago Musical School, which was a pretty well-known school for those who aspired to be musicians in the area. Now, as great as Benjamin was at the violin, he was not as good as his schoolwork went. He was not a very good student, I guess they would say. I guess he was destined for greater things in life, obviously. And by the time he was in ninth grade, he had already dropped out of school. Now, you know, it's kind of hard to find some interviews from Jack Benny talking about his childhood. I couldn't find any. And normally when I research these stories, I'm only going to give myself a certain amount of time before I just kind of move on. But you would think if your parents are Jewish and they want their son, you're in this great country and they want their son to be successful and go to school and get a really, really good job. And he's like, nah, I'm just going to play the violin and hope for the best. I mean, he probably had a lot of sleepless nights from his parents. So by the time he's in the ninth grade, he's done with school. And he later would, I guess his dad try to convince him to at least, go back to school and take some business classes. And he did that, and he dropped out. He would rather play the violin. While he was in school, he did play with his marching band. He might have actually made it to the 10th grade, because when stories like this are so old, you never know exactly what's what. But basically, he dropped out of high school, and he's looking at vaudeville, doing that whole thing where you perform at different theaters around Chicago, around Milwaukee, wherever they're going to hire you. So later he would find work at this theater. So now he's getting paid. He gets hired at a theater. And as he played the violin, he would later introduce comedy into his routine, normally self-deprecating jokes at his expense. So a funny story about how Jack or Benjamin changed his name to Jack Benny. So right at around 1911, Benjamin would link up with a local piano player named Cora Salisbury, and they would together form kind of like a piano violin duo, and Benjamin would kind of tell jokes in between them playing and what have you. However, there's a violinist who takes his craft very well. See, by this time now, Benjamin, he's already, about 17, 18 years old, and he fancies himself a comedian. And this one violinist, his name is Jan Kubelik. And Kubelik sounds kind of like his real name, Kubelski. And he was kind of worried that this guy, I guess their names would be synonymous together, and you got a very accomplished violinist, and then this guy who is a violin prodigy, but then he's telling jokes and kind of making fun of the serious instrument that Jan believes the violin is. So he would threaten to sue him if he didn't fix his name. So he later, I guess he just kind of got scared. He didn't want to get sued or what have you. So he changed his name to Ben K. Benny. And for the next 5 years, that's who he was. He was Ben K. Benny. And during World War I, when the United States enters that war, he enlisted in the Navy. And he would be in the military for, I want to say, a couple years. And then he would play the violin and tell jokes to basically kill time while he was in the Navy. And so later he would get out and he finds that there's going to be another problem. So this guy, he's a fiddler, right? So by now Benjamin is out of the Navy and there's a fiddler. His name is Ben Burney. Right? Ben Burney the fiddler. And so Ben K. Benny is performing around town and he tells him, hey, your name is too close to my name. You better find another name, pal, or we're going to have some issues. We're going to have some problems. So he's like, okay, here we go again. So he changed his name to Jack Benny, because there was a guy that he really liked in the Navy. His name was Jack. So he just basically took on his name and he would become Jack Benny. And after, I guess he probably got tired of being around Chicago, so he decides to take his act out west. So he comes out here to Los Angeles, and by this time now, he gets himself an agent, and his agent is booking him at local theaters around the Southern California area. So Jack Benny is performing at different venues around the Los Angeles area, and in 1929, some guy from MGM, he sees Jack there, and he's convinced that this guy has some talent. And this year now, the invention of audio being added to movies is just about in its infancy. So he likes his act, how he plays the violin. He does a little bit of stand-up comedy in between, and he would sign him to, I want to say, possibly like a 2-year motion picture deal. Of course, at their discretion, they can cut you anytime. So he would star in a couple MGM movies, not star, but star in them. And they didn't do too well. I guess the public really didn't take too kindly to his style of entertainment at first. So it wasn't long before MGM released him from his contract. But Jack Benny would make a name for himself, not from his movies, of course, but by being on the radio. So later on, in 1932, he was, asked to play on this little radio program called The Ed Sullivan Show. And Jack Benny, right around 1932, he performed on the Ed Sullivan radio program. And I guess somebody liked him, because NBC, they approached him with a deal. They said, we'd like to, conduct business with you, I guess. Is that how they said it? They said, hey, we like you, kid, we like you. So NBC offered him his own radio program, and him being on NBC radio from 1932 to around 1948, 1949, that's what actually propelled him to being very, very famous in the United States, possibly all over the world, I'm assuming, or at least parts of the world that have a radio. And so that ended, and later on he would sign on with CBS in 1949, and then he would work with them until 1955. And in 1949, this is about the time now that televisions are coming into homes across the country. So I think in 1949, when he just started with CBS, that was the first year they would simultaneously do the radio show along with TV. Some radio stations, some radio shows, they would do their radio show at like 6 p.m. And then at 7:30 p.m., they would do the TV show. Some would just do it together. I don't know why you would not want to do it together, because you're cutting production costs, I guess. But anyways, so in 1949, Jack was on local TV here in Los Angeles. And then the following year, it became syndicated. So he was on television sets all over the world. And of course, back in those days, there wasn't much entertainment to choose from, not like now, where you can watch me or any other Yahoo walk around in the cemetery. So that is how he got even more famous. And while I was looking this guy up, I was like, I wonder if he was on the I Love Lucy show, because that's how I normally, heard of these old-time Hollywood actors, but he was not. He was on the Lucy show later on in the 1970s. But that is how he became very, very popular, was just by radio. And then he would do performances around the country or whatever, tours or what have you. And then he was on TV for quite a number of years. And those years would be from 1950 to 1965. And after that, he would continue his career doing stand-up and performing concerts. I guess you can call them concerts around the country. In October of 1974, he was performing in Dallas, Texas. He was set to perform, and he fell ill, gravely ill, if I do say, and he had to cancel his performance because he was very, very sick, and he did not know it at the time, but he had pancreatic cancer, and it was inoperable. Basically, the doctors told him he only had a few months to live, and he returned home here to Los Angeles, and he would unfortunately pass away about, I want to say 2 months later. He died on December 26th, 1974. And of course, this is his final resting place right here. Beloved husband, father, and grandfather, a gentle man. And he's interred here along with his wife, Mary. Beloved wife, mother, and grandmother. I've seen this this sarcophagus right here, and of course, when I would see the name Jack Benny, I knew he was an old-time Hollywood performer, and just wanted to do a quick video because I've walked by his final resting place so many times. I said it was about time that I did a quick video. So guys, I hope you briefly enjoyed the video. Rest in peace to both Jack and Mary Benny. Okay guys, I am out of here. I'm going on to the next story. I hope you find it somewhat fascinating. One of my favorite mausoleums in the country to hang out in. I do hang out sometimes in these mausoleums. It's always quiet here. Live but not live, still alive by the grace of God. Catch up with you on the next video. Peace out.